All right, there's the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions continuing our Monday Night Wars review series. This is going to be round 22, January 29th, 1996. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's get into it. So we're fresh. Clash of the Champions is now behind us. So now they're looking forward towards Super Bowl, where they got the double cage, Hogan and
Oh,
Giant in
Jesus
one
Christ.
match. You got Savage and Flair in the other match.
No.
And then, of course, as far as Monday Night Raw goes, well on the way to the road to WrestleMania, but they got that stop at the In Your House
Yeah.
first.
I think we're doing that. We're doing that Super Bowl this year, right? Are we doing
Yes,
that one? Okay.
Super Bowl 6. Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's not going to line up with the
Yeah.
Nitro
Yeah, it'll be
because
like,
it'll be the first one we do February 2nd, I believe.
yeah, the first week of February.
But for the most part, some of the ones that we still have to do in 1996 this year do line up, but just this one
Yeah.
didn't. It's all right. Let's start it off on Monday Nitro, where you got Eric Bischoff, Mongo, and Bobby the Brain Heenan. The opening match, as if
Announced.
we haven't seen this before, is Hulk Hogan versus
Well,
the Nature Boy Ric
at least he's
Flair.
not in the main event, man.
No, can you even say you
Well,
had a main event tonight?
well,
That's
yeah,
one.
yes and no. We'll get into that
Yeah,
later on.
yeah. Hogan once again being escorted down by four women. Of course, two
And
of them being
then
Woman and Elizabeth.
and then Elizabeth comes out, and I'm thinking to myself, Macho Man still hasn't learned his lesson about
No, he hasn't.
not only this guy, about Elizabeth and this guy. Because lust is in his eyes. You could already see that the lust is in his
Oh
eyes.
yeah, nothing's changed. So,
And putting her
and
in danger again, putting Elizabeth in danger. We've seen this before.
the man doesn't learn. What are you gonna do? Again, match itself was pretty good for an opening match. Although, if we hadn't seen this 900
That's the
times,
problem, is that we've seen it so many times at this point. It's a good match, but we've seen it a million
at
times.
this point, their feud has been going on a year and a half now.
Right. And
The feud with the Dungeon of Doom is gone on for what now, about almost 8 months.
right, but now you got Jimmy Hart is now coming out with Flair all the time now, because now they have like this
Yep.
understanding between the two of them. The alliance then Hulkamania is not here yet. It's not here yet, but it's coming.
Yeah, well, it's not going to say much considering the Horsemen and the Horsemen and the Dungeon of Doom
Oh yeah,
deal with later on today. During the match, naturally Flair distracting the referee while Jimmy Hart can get choke out Hogan on the outside and beat him down. Once again, it's typical. Ric Flair applies the figure four leg lock on Hogan. Hogan reverses it. Flair's got to get out of it. Now, once again, Hogan hits the big boot and the leg drop. Only difference this time is when he went for the cover, but Jimmy Hart got on the apron, distracting everybody. Arn Anderson came down, but Hogan got him. Hart held Elizabeth as Arn Anderson grabs her shoe.
he
Gives
blasts.
it to Ric Flair,
Yeah,
who hits Hogan
Arn.
in the eye, supposedly,
damn it,
and gets the 1-2-3 pin on Hulk Hogan.
damn it. And Hogan's blinded. He's like outside the ring, like in
Yeah,
pain.
he's bleeding and stuff. After the match, Savage came down to check on Hogan as he was busted open. It won't be the last time we see Hogan, unfortunately, on this night. Let's go over to Monday Night Raw, where things are getting.
Well,
a
Hogan
little
got
bit
cheered
fresh
though,
every week.
because Hogan had been getting.
Well, yeah.
He had been getting some booze here and there, and he actually got a really, for whatever reason. Where the hell were they this night? I don't remember.
Canton, Ohio,
Well, it must have been Hogan country over there, because they
heartland of America.
they were really cheering for him on this night. It felt like the '80s again. So
Yep. Well, they were in Canton. Monday Night Raw was in Stockton, California. Their opening match of the night was
Stockton again.
Yep. Big Daddy Cool Diesel versus the British Bulldog.
The rematch.
And, yeah.
Well, they had fought when Diesel was the champion. They fought it in your house, right?
Yep. That was one of the matches to start Diesel's losing streak.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, which started sending him on the downward spiral mentally. Now, of course, during the match, Cornette had a game plan. Yokozuna had come down. Naturally, he hits Diesel when the referee's not looking, playing the handicap thing. Now, this is when it's funny because Vince McMahon during this match announced that Shawn Michaels was on his way to the arena.
Right. Yeah.
Would be there any minute. Of course, he's not here when Diesel would need him. Cornette had distracted the referee. Yokozuna came into the ring, went to give a leg drop to Diesel. Diesel gets out of the way. He leg drops the British Bulldog. Diesel gets the pin on British Bulldog on Yokozuna's mistake. So Diesel's the victor here. And this would start some dissension in the Cornette camp at this point. Then once we'll see that a little later on. But Big Daddy Cool Diesel does get the win in the opening match. Let's keep it with Monday Night Raw because the backstage segment, Doc had an in-your-house update. He announced that Bret Hart versus Diesel for the title inside the steel cage was set. They had comments from Bret about Diesel in regards to the match. Also, they was announced Shawn Michaels versus Owen Hart with the WrestleMania 12 title shot on the line at In Your House. The Crybaby match between Razor Ramon and the 1-2-3 Kid. And it would also be Duke the Dumpster Droese versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley. They showed past weekend Helmsley attacking Droese with his own garbage can, mind you, and then he cut his hair. He actually tried to help him. Didn't work.
The thing about the Crybaby matches, they were saving the Razor was supposed. We've talked about this. Razor was supposed to fight Goldust at WrestleMania, that street fight, but then he got suspended, and so because you would have thought he should have gotten an automatic rematch at In Your House, but they segued back. He cost him the title. I got to go handle him. Then I'll eventually make my way back around to Goldust, but he ends up going to WCW or gets so.
So and then of course, plus WWE was threatened with a lawsuit in regards to the billionaire Ted segments.
It was the skit.
Oh god! And then of course they had the next episode of it, which was hilarious.
Yeah, because they were supposed to be over. They were supposed to let it go. Remember, that was the finale. But then they're like, oh no, now we're just gonna keep.
You're gonna sue us, or we're gonna do one more. So let's jump back over to Monday Nitro, where the next match on the card was the return of the Road Warriors to Monday Nitro in the blue, mind you.
Yeah, they look good. It was a different look. The only thing is,
I love the blue in the football pads.
The only thing is that they're past their primes here in '96. They're older. They were a second slower. Yeah. They're not quite the same, but it was cool seeing them back together because they hadn't actually wrestled together in a while. Because Animal was there, and then Hawk had made appearances, kind of sporadically. But now they're back together, and then Animal had like that weird Lloyd's of London thing where he was able to collect the insurance because of a back injury and still wrestle, but he could only wrestle in tag team matches. Like that was the workaround. Like he couldn't do a full match. I don't know how he pulled that off.
I don't know either.
But he was still able to pay. He was double dipping.
Yeah,
he was getting paid by Lloyd's of London and Wild. Good for him, man. Good for him.
Exactly. He knew how to. He beat the system and got.
And they got their sights set on the tag team belts.
Yep, they had their sights set on Sting and Lex Luger, but first the Road Warriors would be facing the Faces of Fear, Barbarian and Meng. And I think the referee kind of dropped the ball on this one because there was never even a tag when Hawk got the pin. I'll get to that in a second. Well, Barbarian, he went for a pile driver on Animal, and Hawk went off the top rope with a clothesline, and the referee just counted it. No tag, no nothing. And this was even with when they were doing the double teaming prior to that.
And it wasn't even a doomsday device.
No, they tried, but Ming broke it. They broke it up. So when Barbarian hit the pile driver the first time, he goes the second time, and Hawk hits the clothesline on him. Yeah. So the Road Warriors get the victory over the Faces of Fear on their return back to Monday Nitro. So let's leave it there, and we'll. Mean Gene Okerlund interviewed Kevin Sullivan and Hugh Morris. I don't know why Hugh was down there. Yeah, used to be Sullivan and Giant. Now it's Sullivan and whoever Morris. He brings out. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Anderson and Pillman came down during the interview. Of course, Anderson got on Pillman, and he was talking about tough love, and he was about to take his belt off like he's going to whoop him like he's a child.
It's a weird segment. It's a weird segment.
It really was. And then all of a sudden, Sullivan and Morris attacked Anderson.
They just attacked him, yeah. And then Pillman runs. No, Pillman runs.
Yeah.
And he's like hiding.
He's hiding on the outside. Keeps looking in the ring.
But he's the loose cannon, so I don't understand why he's running.
I don't know.
It's weird, right?
Some stuff that's just not making
sense. Because
Pillman,
I really loved Pillman's character during this era because he was wild. He was out of control. But then they make him like a baby. It was, I don't know. It didn't make sense to me.
He started this war, and now he's like kind of bowing out.
Right.
almost.
Eventually, Anderson's able to fight out of it.
Oh yeah, and then he demanded a match against Sullivan and Morris next week, which we will get.
And then him and Pillman are on good terms. He was about to get beat.
Yeah.
He was about to get beat with the belt, and then Pillman's telling him, "I got you into this." And then Pillman tells him, "I got you in this. I'll get you out of it." I'm like, the guy was just gonna beat you with the belt.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Well, I still don't understand why they beat him. I mean, maybe later on it gets revealed. I don't understand why they beat Arn. I guess just to set up the match because
eventually the Dungeon and the Horsemen are going to feud. But
right, but I'm saying like
that's after that debacle at Uncensored.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
So why start it now?
I don't know.
Unless you're trying to confuse Hogan and Savage. Well, we're all confused
because the whole thing was that the Taskmaster was telling him you have to get this guy in line, Pillman, and he was going to do that. Arn was going to do that.
Yeah,
and then they just jump him.
I guess Sullivan got tired of waiting on Arn because this is not the first week he said, I'll get him in line.
Right. So,
I don't know. Okay, let's jump back over to Monday Night Raw, where we've got the Godwins versus the Body Donnas. This is Phineas Godwin's debut. They're now Henry Godwin and him are now the tag team. Hillbilly Jim is the manager.
Hillbilly Jim, yeah.
The match wasn't nothing exciting. Phineas with the slop drop on Skip and gets the pin. Of course, after that was where it got interesting. You know, Sonny gets caught in the ring, and of course, Hillbilly Jim winds up do-si-doing with her until she can run out of the ring.
Yeah, this is like silly stuff.
So, it was in between two crucial matches,
right?
But you know, it was entertaining with the Godwins get the win over the Body Donnas. We can jump right back over to Monday Nitro, where you blink and you miss it. They showed it what happened at the Clash at the wedding of Sensational Sherry, where Medusa attacking Sherry.
It's Colonel Parker, right?
Yeah. And Mean Gene was about to interview Sherry during this when Medusa came to the ring. And of course, they mentioned again that she came there with the WWF Women's title, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, she comes here so she can lose. And that's all she does. Sherry on the top rope. Medusa caught her, threw her off like you normally would. However, Sherry grabbed hold of her enough to make the momentum to where she was able to pin her. And in less than 2 minutes, Sensational
Sherry's not even an active wrestler.
No, she's not
even an active wrestler. Yeah,
she's not.
At this point,
it's been a good minute since she's had a
long
match.
Time since she was legit.
Well,
she was.
The women's division is these two right here.
Yeah,
that's it.
I don't know, man.
So
who are we supposed to be rooting for? Who the hell's the heel here?
I'll root for Sherry. I don't care. Ever since when she took over with Harlem Heat and the outfit she came in, I fell in love with her. They were fighting outside the ring too, and then it was like a hardcore
chaotic
cluster. You know what? But I mean, Sherry gets the victory over in a feud that's pretty much one.
But she really takes a beating though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think there was a little animosity there in real life between those two. But in any event, Sister Sherry gets the victory over Medusa. So after the match, Medusa gave a German suplex to Sherry, which kind of landed on her head, it looks like. Back of the neck or the actual head.
Medusa snapped.
And not going to take much for her. And then she continued to attack her while she laid there motionless.
She was out. Yeah, she was out.
So
losing, man. I like Medusa though. I like Medusa. I'm not dumping on her. I do like Medusa.
Well, she left the WWE pretty much on a losing streak because she started one here. And then when they do the tournament for the women's title, they actually had.
She didn't win the title.
So explain to me why you came here. Guaranteed money.
It's not her fault. Not her fault. It's them. It's them. Yeah.
They brought her in with no women's division, and the one person she can face hasn't wrestled in quite some time. So I don't know. In any event, let's keep it on Monday Nitro, where the main event of the evening is for the WCW Championship. The Macho Man Randy Savage defending the title against the Giant.
Now, why isn't the One Man Gang getting a title shot? He's the U.S. champion. He's the U.S. champion, and it would have been a WrestleMania 4 rematch. So,
if I had a nickel for every time the U.S. champion didn't get a title shot around here.
He should be raising hell, and if his Dungeon stablemate is getting a title shot.
Exactly. And you remember, if you see the Giant came out, no Hart, no Sullivan, just by himself,
Well, they
which
did
is
that.
weird.
Well, it didn't make sense, but they did that just so Macho Man can get the drop on him, I guess. You know?
Yeah, because this really wasn't a match. Now, Woman and Elizabeth, along with two other ladies, were waiting for
No.
Savage to come out.
Where's Macho Man?
Bischoff's like, "Where's Macho?" All of a sudden, you go back into the ring. He's come out of the crowd,
That was cool though.
hits the Giant repeatedly with the world title.
Yeah, that was great.
Now,
this has happened before though. This has happened before that people have done this and they don't disqualify you prior to
but
the
the
match.
bell never rang.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
To start the match, yeah.
But that's my point, is that this has happened before where somebody jumps somebody before the match and they don't just call the match off.
And they said this was a 28-second match. There was no match. No. This is a no contest. This technically is a no contest.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a DQ win.
But the referee disqualifies Savage and gives the match to the Giant. And the belt in the ring. Okay.
They're like, does he get the belt? And then I forget who was it that says, does he get the belt? And I'm like, if it's a DQ, he doesn't get the belt. Well, why would you gonna?
He doesn't. Now, of course, afterwards, Flair came down and attacked Savage with a chair. Flair and the Giant were beating both.
They beat the hell out of him. I don't blame Macho Man for doing this though, because Macho Man had enough of the Dungeon and the Giant at this point. So I don't.
No, how long has this feud been going on?
Macho Man had enough. Well, you notice he gets a beating, and Hogan is nowhere to be found.
Well, they mentioned no Sting and Luger were not even in the building.
Right, of course. Yeah.
And of course, they said not like Luger's going to do anything.
Right, and
because it's Savage.
But you know, I'm listen, man. I know that Luger is an official member on paper. I'm still gonna go with my theory that he was an associate. He was never a made guy because he's nowhere to be found in like these big situations, and he doesn't always come out with them. Doesn't make sense. But Hogan, yeah, he got injured, but he's nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. And
well, after Giant choke slams,
right? How long did it take?
Hogan then come? Yeah,
right,
exactly.
But you notice how he waited. He waited.
Well, One Eye Willie came down.
Yeah, and then
eventually.
he did. To Hogan's credit, he did clean house though. He came out with the steel chair. He started blasting everybody. I was actually entertained. I was actually like.
Anytime Hogan comes out and just goes nuts on you with a chair, yeah. I'll watch.
No, it was fun. It was fun. We dump on Hogan during this era, but this was actually like good. I was actually having a good time.
Well, most of the times
he got the whole dungeon by himself. By himself.
Yes. Yeah, and you notice the whole dungeon comes down, and the only time you see the Zodiac down there is just to hold the Giant back.
Yeah. Well, he didn't want any part of Hogan.
He doesn't want any part of anybody. But following that, Flair went to the announce table and grabbed the microphone. Well, yeah, this is where this was like almost NWO like, because then here comes the Giant. Bischoff and Mongo get out of there. Bobby Heenan's still trying to calm him down and whatnot. The Giant grabs the microphone, the headset as well, and whatnot. So I mean, they're going crazy at this point. But I mean, like I said in the beginning of this feud between Hogan and Flair has been going on since Bash of the Beach '94. Okay, year and a half. This dungeon feud has been going on.
It's been
longer than I want to believe.
And it's going to keep going for a little longer.
I know. Don't remind me. And then this whole Hogan and Savage, we'll team together, but I want your belt. And I'm only, pretty much I'm with you because I want your title. And once I get the title, brother, you follow my coattail type nonsense. It's just it's getting redundant every week. Let's switch over to Monday Night Raw, the closeout, the main event. Before the main event, they showed Vader's debut at the Royal Rumble and how dominant he was, plus all the chaos he caused, and of course what he did the next night to Gorilla Monsoon. Now, there were comments from Clarence Mason with Jim Cornette in regards to the whole thing. Oh my God! As far as we're going to file charges, blah 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 blah. Following that is when the night to me really picked up. Vince interviewed the new acting president chosen by Gorilla Monsoon, Rowdy Piper. And Piper asked Vince, he goes, "Am I higher than you?"
Am I your boss? He's like, "Am I your boss?" Yeah.
The best part is he comes out with rules, and Vince is like, "You never followed a rule a day in your life." He goes, "Good point."
Yeah, he starts going
and puts it away.
Yeah, he starts. He's like, "I'm the guy that hit Jimmy Snuka with the coconut. I'm the guy that knocked out Mr. T." It was good stuff.
Anytime Piper comes out, it's just awesome. And then, of course, after the interview, he gives Vince an airplane spin and then picks him up again. So that was good stuff between the two of them. And then we get the very first vignette from Mankind.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, right before the main event, Vince was like that odd person. And, of course, that's when Jerry Lawler said, "Oh, I believe his name is Mankind." So the very first vignette, and we won't see him till his debut until the night after WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. And then he'll make Undertaker's life a living hell for the next year. Main event was Shawn Michaels versus Yokozuna. And, of course, during this match, now Owen Hart comes down.
Hart comes out, yeah. It was good to see. It was good to see Shawn and Yoko, but it's like, at this point,
Yoko's pretty much 1 foot out the door type thing. He's way excessively overweight. There's only a few more times, really, in the next few months that they're going to use him. Mm-hmm. I mean, he gets pretty much, by the time SummerSlam comes, he's a free-for-all match in a 90-second match against Austin, unfortunately. And then there's a lot of times that they had to sub for him over the next coming year because of his weight issues and everything, unfortunately. Now, of course, Cornette distracting the referee like he does so well during the match. Owen attacking Shawn Michaels. He distracted him again, only this time Owen accidentally hits Yokozuna with the spinning heel kick, which allows Shawn Michaels to hit the sweet chin music and gets the pin on Yokozuna, where a few years before this doesn't happen.
No.
But in this case, time, it does. Okay. Shawn Michaels gets the victory over Yokozuna. Now, after the match is where the dissension really hit. Yokozuna pushing Owen Hart. We know it's coming in 1 week's time because I remember this adamantly when Yokozuna turned babyface. Bulldog came down, kind of gets in between these two guys, kind of playing the mediator at this point to work it out. Now, at this point, this is where I was talking about earlier. They were in the Rumble episode. They were walking towards Shawn, and all of a sudden he's almost like he's going to shit his pants. When all of a sudden Big Daddy Cool Diesel comes down, and now all of a sudden here comes Shawn talking a lot of smack because the 7-foot guy's back there and whatnot. And so Vince at this point now interviewed Jim Cornette, and he challenged the two dudes with attitude to a match next week against the British Bulldog and Yokozuna, which they gracefully accepted. And that will be the opening match in Monday Night Raw next week. Will not be the main event. Main event will actually be the return match between Bret Hart and The Undertaker for the title. So, but yeah, Shawn Michaels getting real happy once his buddy shows up. Jim Cornette keeping a lid on this animosity between the three of them for now, but it's going to blow up really soon.
Eventually, it's coming. It's coming.
And then, of course, Yokozuna speaks perfect English after that point. Yeah, it's amazing. So, okay, now, as far as the ratings go, and this was a close one, Monday Night Raw received Monday Nitro received a 2.8, and Monday Night Raw received a 2.4. So as far as the actual ratings go, it's Nitro 10, Raw 8 with 2 no decisions. You're up. Who do you think?
I thought the shows were kind of even. I thought both shows were decent. I'm gonna just give it to Nitro only because you had the champion defending the title, which I think is always important, having the champion on the supposedly.
Supposedly defended it, yeah.
I mean, technically he did.
it was on the card. So
it was on the card. It was on the card. All right. So, and he was there physically. He wasn't cutting a promo.
Exactly.
I had fun with that whole, even that debacle at the end and the stuff with the dungeon and the horsemen, and even Hogan Flair was actually a good match. Even though we've seen it a million times, I thought it came off well. Raw wasn't bad. I don't think it was terrible, but I would have liked to have seen actually Bret there doing something, not just cutting a promo about how, hey, I'm gonna,
he's undefeated in the cage and whatnot, and he'll take out Diesel.
Yeah, the match, I don't know. It was just barely. I give it just barely. I give Nitro the edge.
Okay. I'm like you, barely the edge, only I'm giving it to Monday Night Raw. And what won it over for me is Roddy Piper.
Yeah, it was good to
becoming the new acting president of the World Wrestling Federation, even though we know who's really running it. Flair and Hogan, I agree with you. It was even though we've seen it a dozen times.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a good opening match. Like you said, at least the champion was there. The Road Warriors was a plus, seeing them back together again. What did it over for me on Raw, like I said, besides not only Piper, but was the Shawn Michaels match as well as Big Daddy Cool Diesel's match. How finally they've got these two guys working the shows. What would have made it even better, like you said, was if Bret the Hitman Hart was there instead of cutting a promo. He will be there next week, but that doesn't help the show now. But like I said, just a little advantage I give it, just because we've seen the redundancy on Monday Nitro with the Horsemen and the Dungeon and Hogan and Savage and blah 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 blah. It's a never-ending story that's never going to find its final chapter. Kind of like Cody Rhodes and his championship. Never going to happen. So that puts you at Nitro 15, Raw 5, and me at Nitro 13, Raw 7.
Yeah, so you have Raw 3 weeks in a row winning, right? I only had them 2. I had 2 weeks in a row, I think. And then I gave them
No, I had them 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this week and then the week before I got them winning it. So I'm not jumping on the Monday Night Raw bandwagon. Right.
Well,
I'm not going to say every Nitro is going to be bad because they constantly have the same old storyline going. If there's something else, if they add a little twist to it to make it a little bit more interesting going forward, then yeah, I'm all for it. But as of right now, it's just Hogan and Savage and that whole come on, let's come to an end and let's start another storyline.
All right, well, that's our review. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.